Hey guys, it's Anne, and I've honestly been struggling to find a manga that is up to par to Dragon Ball, because I think I told you guys recently that I read all of Dragon Ball over the summer and I loved it and it was amazing, and lately I was looking for a manga that gave me a story that intrigued me, that fascinated me, a manga that keeps you on your feet, that just blows every expectation. That's what I was looking for, and if you've read the title of the video, I think you can guess what manga I recently found that has absolutely taken over my life right now, and that is The Promised Neverland. This manga, this horror manga, this manga set in a different universe that involves us humans is absolutely killing it. If you've seen the anime, you already know what this manga is about. But if you haven't seen the anime, if you haven't read the manga, I'm about to tell you why it's so great. Just imagine that you are a little kid, right? You are raised in a big family, you have your routine, you wake up in the morning and you eat your breakfast and you play with your siblings, and you have a mother that loves you and that you love her, and everything is absolutely fantastic. And then you find out that you are livestock in a farm. It's honestly very sad. It's soul-shattering at times, because the first few volumes was the idea of being eaten, and living your life in a blissful ignorance is something else. Just finding out that your life isn't the way you thought it was, but something else, that you don't have a say in what is going to happen to you. It's just crazy. Our main characters are Emma, Ray, and Norman, and they are 12-year-old kids, or they're about to be 12. And they are the top scorers at this farm, because the number one thing that these demons who harvest these humans like to eat is their brain. So once these three really smart kids that have gotten the top grades in their class for basically their entire lives find out that they are on a farm and they are being eaten, like every month one of them gets shipped out to be eaten, they start to devise a plan of escape, to get out of this farm, to try to live in a human society, to be with their families and not worry about their family members dying. I've read up to volume 12 at this point, and I could spoil it because a lot happens, but I'm just going to talk about like the first volume, maybe up to volume 3. I just want to talk about the part where they do end up leaving the farm, because everything after that is complete spoiler, and I feel like this is such a fantastic story that you should actually like sit down and read it yourself. So these three kids, they devise a plan. The mom is really smart. She's been trained to be strong, athletic, read expressions. Basically, like, she's always a step ahead of you. Just imagine like a chess game, and she is thinking like 10 moves ahead. So the biggest issue for these kids is trying to outsmart their mom and racing the clock, because Norman is about to be shipped out. Norman is going to be shipped out because he's going to be harvested, because his birthday's coming up, and I think 12 is the cutoff. Once you're 12, if you've made it to 12, it's because you're really smart and because your brain has developed to that point that it's perfect and it needs to be harvested. So they're racing the clock, trying to figure out how to escape before Norman gets shipped out. And it's incredible because you get to see just how smart these kids are, all the tactics, all the planning, all the lies. It's just kind of crazy, because when I think back, when I was that age, I would have freaking died, you know? Like, I'm not this smart, I'm not this tactful. Like, I would have just been ignorant. I just would have lived until my last breath and been shipped out. So it's crazy for me to imagine the scenarios of these 11-year-olds having to go through all this psychological trauma as well, because they've lived their entire lives thinking, I am loved, I have my mother, I have my family, and then it's all shattered. It's just, it's kind of like a mind fuck, you know? It's like, damn, I was in this shroud of lies and I was happy, and now I have to forget all of that, leave all those feelings behind, and be tactful to save the rest of my family. So basically the first few volumes just follows Emma, Ray, and Norman trying to figure out a plan, trying to get the other kids ready for the escape. And it is honestly, like, if you've seen Home Alone, like all the booby traps and like all that, it's just like, imagine that but on steroids. Like the way they have to plan, the way they're thinking, the way they're trying to outmaneuver mom is just crazy. And that's what makes this story so enjoyable. It's just like, when you think one thing's gonna happen, another thing happens because they thought of the thing that was happening, you know? Like, they're just that far ahead of you that even you as the reader, you can't figure out what's going on half the time until it happens and they explain it to you. It's also fantastic because of the horror elements. I'm a big fan of horror. It's not like gruesome in a sense. Like, I've seen some pretty nasty horror mangas that's just more gore than horror. And that's actually what really appeals to me about this story. It's not solely involved with the gore. It's more the psychological aspect of like, I'm trying to survive, I'm trying to save my family. I'm trying my best here, and sometimes they get hurt. They lose limbs, arms, ears, like they lose what they have to lose. But it's never anything that's too graphic, which I appreciate since I'm not a big fan of very graphic manga. But it still manages to keep you on your toes in a way. You still read this and like you're like, oh my god, like you're nervous. You don't want to turn the next page. You're afraid of what's gonna happen. You think people are dying. You see people dying. Oh my god. After they escape, they find out that there are other farms. This is like a spoiler, I think. And some of the imagery of the other farms, like, they're a top class farm, so they are allowed to eat and run around and do tests. Like, just think of it like how the meat industry is here in the world, how we have like our grass-fed beef and shit, and then we also have like, you know those pictures and those videos you see of like the cows in the teeny tiny corrals, like they can't move, they don't get sunlight. Just imagine that. But with people. And that really messed me up. I kind of like wanted to go vegetarian for a sec after reading some excerpts in this manga, just because it's so cruel and it makes me think of that, and I think that is what it's relating to. Don't quote me on that. I have not read an interview or anything that says this is a true fact, but I think that's the message the author wants to get across, and she's doing it pretty damn well in my opinion. Anyway, I think that's all I want to talk about this manga. I just wanted to tell you why it's good, tell you why you should read it. The art's amazing, the story, the way it's developing is great. I'm excited for the next few volumes, and if you are looking for something to read, I completely recommend this one. This one is a really, really good one, and yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Ann. Hope to see you guys again. Bye!